Well, it looks like Warner Brothers has gone ahead and dropped the Godzilla x Kong, the new empire. Not much was shown in the teaser, in my opinion. It was less than 40 seconds, it's about 37 seconds long to really get you hyped for the movie. I mean, if you think about it, the release date is set in March of 2024. It's about 2 years since it was announced. It was first announced. The sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong was actually first announced back in March 2022. That's because Godzilla vs. Kong had performed well in the box office. Like, if you haven't seen the Warner Brothers MonsterVerse movies, that's Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then Godzilla vs. Kong, the last drawing that came out. Even if you sign up for HBO Max for 1 month, fam, like 1 month, just sign up for HBO Max and watch the new Godzilla, the new MonsterVerse drawing, because in my opinion, Godzilla was okay. It's a little bit of a slow burn. You kind of gotta, you gotta work through it a little bit, but it wasn't a bad movie at all. Like, the picture quality was good. It had Bryan Cranston in it, among other people. The first Godzilla was a little bit of a slow burn, you might kind of gotta drag your way through it. It's like trying to watch Harry Potter for the first time and started with the first movie. And then Kong Skull Island, in my opinion, was a really good Kong movie. And I've always kind of been impartial to like the monster movies. Like, I'm just here for the destruction, right? So, I never really got deep into the mythos, but Warner Brothers and their MonsterVerse kind of, opened me up to it a little bit. So I've seen Godzilla, I've seen all the movies. I think they're all good watches. Honestly, if you really don't see a movie, trilogy like this, or quadology like this, where it's like more than 3 movies, and each one they just progressively get better with each installment. And that's exactly the case that led up to even Godzilla vs. Kong. And I've put Godzilla King of the Monsters up there in my at least top 5 favorite modern movies. But we got the Godzilla x Kong teaser trailer. It's less than 37 seconds. It really doesn't show much. Maybe a glimpse at a Kong or the potential villain, what looks like sitting on top of Kong's throne, which is more than likely going to be Hollow Earth. I really think we're going back to Hollow Earth in the Godzilla x Kong movie, in this 5th installment of Warner Brothers MonsterVerse. I really think we're going back to Hollow Earth, and that's because largely in part the movie was shot in the same place, Australia, the Gold Coast, that Godzilla vs. Kong was shot, in Kong Skull Island, which, if you think about it, both those movies had incorporated like isolated and areas that were really, far away from mankind. There were instances where, obviously we had Godzilla and Kong where they fought, in Tokyo, but Skull Island predominantly took place on Skull Island. So given that Godzilla x Kong, the new empire, is also going to be shot in the same location that those last 2 movies were shot in, I really think we're going to see more distant and isolated and faraway places. That means I seriously think we're going back to Hollow Earth, which I'm not going to spoil it for y'all. Again, I'm not your boy Skitty, but I'm not going to spoil it for y'all. But if you watch the movies in a progressive order, that's probably the best way to go about it. But if you really want to get a good watch, you'll jump right into Godzilla vs. Kong, as that kind of opens up the mythos between the Zillas and the Kong, and how they've been at war with each other long before probably mankind. And this movie is supposedly set to tell the tale of the war between the Zillas and the Kongs. In the teaser trailer, you see what looks to be like a graveyard of skeletons and skulls that looks to be both a Zilla and a Kong. So whoever this new villain is must be menacing enough to either bring Kong and Godzilla back, together to either, fight one another or fight with each other. Again, I don't want to spoil Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus Kong. Like, I don't want to spoil it for you, but I tell you what, you watch that movie, maybe we'll run a poll. You tell me who won. I got my favorite who won, but you tell me who won. Or if you already seen the movie, without spoiling it, down in the comment section, tell us below who you think won that fight between Godzilla and Kong. But speaking of, it's also being directed by the same gentleman who directed the Godzilla vs. Kong movie, Adam Wingard. So we can expect some of the same visuals, some of the same action set pieces, just some of the overall direction and pacing that we got in Godzilla vs. Kong. It was okay, wasn't great, but it was okay. The movie definitely had its, moments where it kind of left like scratching your head or like, what were they thinking? But overall, it's a well put together movie, given the scope for a modern movie with all the CGI involved, with having that showdown, that epic showdown, and then the bonus fight at the end of it. Again, I don't want to spoil it for you, but if you need a good weekend watch the Godzilla movies, okay? the Warner Brothers MonsterVerse Godzilla movies. The first Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, and then Godzilla King of the Monsters, which was one of my personal favorites. Like, all of them were good, but that one was the best. And then watch Godzilla vs. Kong. Like, watch those movies, and then you'll be ready for Godzilla x Kong. It's not slated to come out until March 2024, so we got a little bit of ways away, but it's almost less than a year away. It's less than 12 months away, so it'll come a little bit quicker. Again, the teaser trailer really didn't show enough to get us hype, maybe other than the possible villain. It doesn't really look like King Kong. It looks like a Kong. If you have an idea, tell us down in the comment section below. It's not necessarily a spoiler because we really don't know, but if you have an idea who the villain might be, tell us down in the comment section. Again, I think this is what the teaser predominantly wants to tease, the fact that we're seeing the villain, even if we don't recognize them or recognize their conflict or what their plot is. Obviously, it's to dominate and probably rule the earth. And then, of course, Godzilla and King Kong have to come together. I don't want to spoil the movie too much, but given where we left Kong at the end of Godzilla vs. Kong and with Godzilla doing his own thing, I mean, it's hard to imagine where they're going to come back and meet here in the middle as either rivals once again or as as partners. So that remains to be seen. But other than that, the teaser looked good. I mean, the Godzilla vs. Kong movies, all the Godzilla, the whole MonsterVerse movies, the CGI looked really well, in my opinion, man. When Godzilla light up with that atomic breath, then his whole back and jaw get blue, and you the villain, you sitting over there and you know it's coming. You know what I mean? And then he line it up and but nah, in all seriousness, get ready for the Godzilla x Kong movie. Watch the first 4 movies in the Warner Brothers MonsterVerse. Come back and let us know here in the channel what you think of them, or on this video. We may give them a revisit, or it might be the highlight of some podcast here in the future, as I think those movies coming up with the 5th installment, y'all. A 5th installment is still, performing really well. We can't say that with a lot of modern movies or a lot of modern trilogies, really. So that's all for this one, y'all. Appreciate you. You can check out the Godzilla x Kong teaser either with the link down in the description box below, or it's everywhere on YouTube and the internet. But that's all I got for this one, y'all. It's been your boy Lab. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Unlimited Max podcast, and I do hope to catch you on the next one. But until then, be easy.